Listen now, now it's a man I wanna tell y'all a little something about. He looks so good, it's just like candy that melts in my mouth. I can't believe the way he makes me wanna scream and shout. Can I get with you? Take this picture, can we work it out? They say it's unladylike, and I don't want to sound so bold, but I ain't never been the type to not get what I want. Can you rock me, baby? If you do, then you know I love you. Can you rock me, baby? If you do, ooh, can we groove, baby? Can we spend some time doing what we like? Baby, just you and I. Can we groove, baby? Can we spend some time doing what we like? Baby, just you and I. Now when you look at me, boy, you make me feel something special. Inside, outside, left side, right side, I never felt nothing better. You make me lose control, you light me up inside, oh baby. You're irresistible, I gotta have you, I can't shake it. You keep me rolling, gotta get going, got no time for playing. I need your love and kissing and hugging, ain't no time for faking. Hey, yeah, you know I love you. Can you rock me, baby? If you do, can we groove, baby? Can we spend some time doing what we like? Baby, just you and I. Can we groove? Can we spend some time doing what we like? Baby, just you and I. Can you rock me, baby? Can you rock me, baby? Come on, yeah. Can you rock me, baby? Can you rock me, baby? Come on and rock me, baby. Rock me, baby. Can we spend some time, yeah, doing what we like? Baby, just you and I. Say I can't make it. Can we spend some time, yeah. You're irresistible. Baby, just you and I. Can we groove? Said I need you, baby. Said I love you, baby. I can't fake just you and I. Yeah, yeah. Rock me, should rock me, baby. Rock me, should rock me, baby. Should rock me, baby. Rock me, should rock me, baby. Rock me, should rock me, baby. Rock me, should rock me, baby. Baby, can we spend some time doing what we like? Baby, just you and I. Can we groove, baby? Can we spend some time doing what we like? Baby, just you and I.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is your boy J Mad on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we're on. Even Alexa can make it do what it do. You are listening to Coffee and Conversation, where we just sit back, relax, enjoy a cup of coffee, and get our day started. This morning when I was up, well, actually when I first woke up this morning, something crossed my mind, and I did some more research on it just to find the person's name. I remember the event, and I just didn't remember the guy's name. His name is Derek Redmond. Derek Redmond. I don't know if you all remember Derek Redmond. In the 92 Barcelona Olympics, Derek Redmond was a sprinter. He was on the track and field team he was a British track and field star, broken records and things like that. And he was in the middle of a semifinals race. And while in the middle of this race, he tore his Achilles. He fell to the ground in agony and pain. And he said in a later interview, he said all he could remember that came to his mind was, wait a minute, you're in the semifinals in the Olympics. He said something on the inside said, go finish the race. So he got up and he could barely move. He was in pain and agony. And he hopped on one leg while dragging the other leg in hopes of finishing the race. That in itself was dramatic. The fact that he got up to finish the race. It is in this portion that the story even takes another plight. A man runs onto the track and field, breaking through security to come help him. It ended up being his father. And his father wrapped his son's arms around his neck and helped his son finish the race. He told his son, he said, you don't have to do this. Derek looked at his father and said, yes, I do. And he kept running. His father said, well, we're going to finish this together. So he helped him run his race. But then it became even more dramatic. And this is the lesson that I think many of us need to learn. He said just a few feet out, the father let go of his son to let him finish the race on his own. Indeed, he finished the race. This life that we live in is, in essence, a race. There's a reward, there is a destination to a place that we desire to reach. The instruction through the Bible gives us this race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but to the one who endures to the end. My friends, I know life can be very difficult. I know that life can throw many curveballs at you. I know running a race, we too can incur damages to our spiritual bodies, our emotional bodies, and yes, even our physical bodies. But my desire to you this morning is to basically convince you or convey to you that we have to keep running. No matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, no matter what has come our way, we have to keep running. We have to keep moving. Whether you are running full speed ahead or dragging one leg behind you, I simply want you all to keep on moving. Don't stop. Hobble if you must, but keep moving. If we allow things to convince us to stop, we automatically lose our race. Automatically. You see, we're not competing against anyone. We're not competing against our neighbors. We're not competing against our brothers or our sisters or our ancestors. You're running your own race. Your race is different than anyone else's. I remember some years ago, my oldest son, was in high school, and he was on the track and field team. He challenged me one day to a race. Now I really knew that this dude was young. He was living in the prime of his life. Matter of fact, he had not even reached the prime of his life. He was on a jet stream upward to his prime. But I accepted the challenge. And we were in the park, and we set out. Somebody said, on your mark, get set, go. Boom, we shot off. He slipped because he didn't have on his shoes. And so I started running. I was in front of him. But in my peripheral, I could see him catching up. But because I had to learn to work smarter than harder, I changed the direction in which I was running. An angle in which it caused him to move to a certain angle. The whole time we knew where the finish goal was. Ended up winning the race. My son said this to me. He said, "Dad, you cheated. You was in my lane." I said, "Son, all I know is a straight line, and I was running into a straight line into where the line was. Your straight line was different than my straight line. I know I cheated. I know I did. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do." But the moral of that story is, your straight line is different than anyone else's straight line. It doesn't run the same. It doesn't look the same. It doesn't feel the same. But whatever you do, run your race. Just like Derek Redmond did in the 92 Olympics. In the middle of the race, tore his Achilles. But came to himself during all of that pain. And this is the part that gets me. It was during the pain that he came to himself and made this statement: "I'm in a race in the Olympics and I have to finish. I'm in a race in the Olympics and I have to finish." You're in a race to your goal. And things are going to happen to you. But you got to finish. You have to finish. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it. You have to finish. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Sherry. Good to have you in the chat room this morning. Remember this. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, you have to finish. You listen to Coffee and Conversation with your boy J-Man on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we're on. Even Alexa can make it do what it do.
I'd never have the courage to come back to you. We're all entitled to make a mistake. We got to prepare for some heartbreak. I was earning my man while I was learning my man. Something you young girls might not understand. No pain, no pain, no pain, no pain, no gain, no gain, no. No pain, no pain, no pain, no pain, no gain, no gain. She called me over and she said to me, "My days left here may not be long. I wouldn't waste my time telling you nothing wrong. But love is a flower that needs the sun and the rain. A little bit of pleasure's worth a whole lot of pain. If you learn this secret, how to forgive, a longer and a better life you'll live. No pain, no pain, no pain, no pain, no gain, no gain. No pain, no
is worth working for and waiting for. Some of my closest friends have thought they had their thing on a string just because their man was bringing them flowers and candy and all kinds of gifts. Honey, some gifts are just to make him feel better while he's on his guilt trip about the night before. You know what I mean? Especially when you know you haven't been doing the things you should do. Think about it. What is the man trying to tell you? Sometimes flowers mean maybe we should just be friends. Do you get my drift? Hang if you can hang. No pain, no gain. In order to get something, you gotta give something. In order to be something, you gotta go through something. Be a cook in the kitchen, a lady in the street. You can't show your teeth to every guy you meet. It's alright to be a little sweet, but be a mama with the kids and you know what in the sheets. No pain, no pain, no pain, no pain, no gain. Oh, no pain, no pain, no pain, no pain, no gain, no gain. See, you can't give up, 'cause times get hard. It's just that old devil trying to keep us apart. Say, devil, you ain't got nothing here. I'm holding to my man and have no fear. No pain, no pain, no pain, no pain, no gain, no gain. No, no pain, no pain, no pain, no pain, no gain, no gain. Oh, no pain, no pain, no pain, no pain, no gain, no gain. No, 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 no pain. No, 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 no gain. No, 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 no pain, no pain, no gain. In order to get something, give something, to be something, you gotta go through something. No pain, no pain, no gain. Oh, no pain, no pain, no pain, no pain, no gain, no gain. No, 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 no pain, no, 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 no pain, no gain. No, no pain, no pain, no gain, no gain. You will not gain anything. No, without going through something. No, 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 no pain, no pain, no pain, no gain. No pain, no pain, no gain. No pain, no pain, no pain, no pain, no gain, no pain, no gain. No get something, no pain, you got to go through something. No pain, no pain, no pain, no pain.
Good morning. You're listening to Coffee and Conversation with your boy J-Man on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the other platforms that we're on. Even Alexa. That's right. Alexa can make it do what it do. We're talking about finishing our race. We liken this conversation to Derek Rodman in the 92 Olympics that tore his Achilles in the middle of a race, but decided to get up and finish the race. His father runs to the track and helps his son to the finish line. But just before we reach the finish line, his father lets go and said, "You have to finish on your own." Our greatest wisdom comes from the hurt, the pain that happens along the route that we're running. I'll say that again. Our greatest wisdom comes from the route, the pain that happens to us during the route of our race. I just played Betty Wright's song, No Pain, No Gain. And she was explaining how she's now back together with her man because they went through some things, some difficult times, but they found themselves back together, and the pain that they went through made them stronger. My favorite part of the song is when she talks about the old lady that sits under the tree. And it says, there was an old lady sitting under the tree. She called me close and she said to me, my days left here may not be long, so I wouldn't waste my time telling you nothing wrong. But love is a flower that needs the sun and the rain. A little bit of pleasure is worth a whole lot of pain. If you learn this secret, how to forgive, a longer and a better life you'll live. Y'all, I quoted that from the top of my head. But it's so much truth. It is so much truth in that conversation. It is so much truth in that conversation. If you know agriculture at all, if you want to kill a plant, just don't let it have sun. Don't let it have access to the sun. Or if you want to kill a plant, don't allow it to have access to the rain or to water. You have to have both in order. You have to have both in order for that rose to grow. You have to have that rain in your life, and you have to have the sun in your life. She said a little bit of pleasure is worth a whole lot of pain. We're more appreciative of the things that we have in life when pain becomes a part of it. We appreciate friends. We appreciate loved one. We appreciate those in that are connected to us. We appreciate the things that God has blessed us with when we experience pain or when we experience loss. You have to be able and willing. Let me put it this way. You have to be willing to go through something in order to get something. You have to be willing. What are you willing to go through to get what God has for you? What are you willing to... The quote, the name of the song is No Pain, No Gain. When I was in the military, one of the things that we used to make in a statement was that very statement. No pain, no gain. If I was to go to the gym, I would have to put weight on me, on the bar, and lift the weight off of me in order to get bigger, in order to get stronger. I have to force myself to endure pain in order to gain. We can't allow hardships, disappointments, unexpectancy to stop us from moving forward. My friends, I simply implore you this morning to not allow whatever you deem or whatever you see or whatever you feel negative, whatever that hindered your plans, that stopped I'll just say hindered your plans. To stop you from moving. Just because something happened does not mean you have to give up. Last night on our show, we talked about loss and how to deal with loss. Just because we've experienced great losses in our lives does not mean we have to stop moving. my friends, keep moving forward. Keep doing and running the race, even if you have to walk. Keep running your race. I hope y'all get this one. Keep running your race, even if you have to walk. You may cry along the way. You may be in pain along the way. You may not be able to think straight along the way. But whatever you do is finish your race. Keep running your race. Derek Redmond became known for inspiration around the world. And hundreds of thousands of people were sitting in the stands, cheering as he continued to run his race. That was back in 1992, and even until this day, 2020, his story is used to motivate people. I'll close with this thought. Your story, your race is going to motivate people. Your life, your way of doing things, your way of finishing is going to motivate other people's lives. You have a story that's on the inside of you that has to be released. And when you release that story, in other words, when you allow people to see the race you've run, you become unknowingly, if I can quote the poem, give the right for other people to do the same. You give them permission to run their race faster, harder, longer, and not give up. Simply because you're running your race. Thank you all so much for listening to Coffee and Conversation this morning. I do appreciate you. May God bless you. May God keep you. May you be so deep in the Lord that the enemy would never find you. Run your race and keep your faith, just so you can see just what the end is going to be. Love you guys.
Understand why when life gets hard you start to cry. Now you can dry all those tears that comes through fears with his supply. Just like a medicine, just like a medicine, just like a medicine, like a medicine, a medicine. Laughter does good, like a medicine. Oh God, just like a medicine, just like a medicine. Now tomorrow may bring one or two things that you don't like.
And if it does, you can rise above.